that has the changes done within the day. The advantage of using a differential backup is that it is a very small file and it takes a very short time to do it. And it's something that it does not affect the usage of the system at the time that you are doing the differential. The disadvantage for it is that for you to differential backup, you must have a combination of all the differential backup that totals up to a full backup. Okay? So for instance, if you do 3 differential in a day, for you to restore it, you need all of them, and you need to restore them in the sequence on which the backup was done. For full backup, of course, as I said, this takes the snapshot of the database as is, and for this case, this is the option that recommend that we would be using. So we'd be using the full backup so that we are certain that it's a backup that we can restore at any given time. The other part is that you also need to choose the location of where the backup is going to be stored. By default, it normally takes it to the installation path of where you have installed the SQL. But you can always remove this and put the path that you want it to be stored. So in this case, you can be able to define whichever path that you want it to be give it a name. And the best name of giving a backup is so that it's always good to give a name as an indication of when it was done. So for instance, if it's a backup of today, this is a test backup, so it's good to have maybe it is a test database done today, since it will be 13/02/25. And as we all know, for any naming convention of a file, you avoid special characters on it. And you put that, and then you can now be able to. So when you say, okay, it should be able to do that backup depending on the size of your backup. It should be able to execute that and store it on the location that you have set. When it comes to the restoring the same backup, of course, you can always click on the database aspect, and then you are able to say restore database. So if you say restore database, it will be able to pick the file, that is the backup file that you want to restore. Automatically, it will give you the name of the database that hold that backup, and then it will show the files that goes with that. It is always good also to change the location of where the files are going to be kept. Normally, an SQL database has 2 files. It has a backup it has a data file and also a log file. So it's always a good practice to ensure that you store them in a different locations and always change it from the application path. By default, it will tend to restore it in where the SQL is stored. Most of us, we normally leave it that way, and it restores it in that location. The huge risk that comes with is that in an event that you uninstall your SQL, it disappears with your data. So that's why it's always good to change this to another location so that in an event that you uninstall the SQL, you will not lose your data. So this is a process. If the backup that you are restoring is a differential backup, then you have to choose the first file. Then when it completes, it will prompt you for the second file. Okay? You do that way until the backup is fully restored. But for today's session, we are not keen on the restoration. We'll have a session another time for that. Today, we want to focus on the backup itself. So I've demonstrated the first step. So that is the manual, the process where you trigger the backup as a user. The other one is where you could also be able to manage. You could create your backup using the job queues within the SQL. So with this, you can be able to create a plan, a job queue plan, where you can be able to indicate when it's going to happen and vice versa. So let me see if I can be able to create a simple job queue for. And another thing is that before you create a job queue, in SQL, you need to ensure that this service is running. You need to ensure that the SQL agent, okay? Like for instance, my instance is SQL 2019. So you need to ensure that the agent corresponding to that is running. So this agent here, you need to start that because a job queue in SQL is a service called SQL agent. So you need to ensure that that is running. Without that, then you're not able to place your job queue. So that is now, that's where you see that is now running. Before that, you could see it at a red. So with that, you can now be able to expand that, and you are now able to create your job queue. Okay. So to create your job queue, you simply create a new job. So you say create a new job. And then from this new job, you say it is a backup. It's a backup. It gives you the details of the owner, the person executing the backup. The next step is you define the steps. So you say it's a new step. You would create what exactly is going to happen. So this is our step number one. So you can define your step. Uh, and define your step, the transaction that is going to happen with that. So in that, you can either use an SQL transaction script, and then you define database that is going to be affected. Then you paste your script here. And I'll be able to show you a script that you can be able to use to be able to implement this. But this is, you need to paste the script for running the backup. You will paste the script for running the backup at that particular site. The other thing that you also need to define is that you also have to now define the scheduling. When is it supposed to happen? So when is it supposed to happen? So each schedule, you can be able to define a schedule. So you can say, for instance, it will be running, recurring running. That is a nature of a job queue. If it's a one time, then you can say it's one time, but it doesn't make sense to create a job queue that is one time. So it says recurring, still give it a name, define how frequent is it going to be happening. So for instance, you can be able to say it's going to be happening maybe daily, and then you define the time that occurs every 1 hour or it occurs every day at what time, okay, and the day that it starts. So once you've set that again, the next thing is you can also define an alert. An alert is a notification. What happens if it's successful? What happens if it fails? So at this point, you can tell the system that in case it is, again, you have to define to your database, you have to set that. So what happens if there is an error? An alert will be raised, and so in that case, maybe an email can be sent, and what is the nature of the information that is going to be shared. But this is an optional step. It's an optional step. The alerts and the notification is an optional step. Notification is where you can say if the job is completed, then it's an email is sent to a certain email. If it fails, so it will say if it fails or if it's completed, you define an email that can be sent. As I said, that is also optional. Targets is again an optional area. Which server are we targeting? By default, it targets the local server that you are configuring this with. So if you don't set anything here, it presumes that you will be running it on a default server. So the most important step here is the step number 1, 2, and 3, where it's the general is where you give the name of our job shoot of your job. Step number 2 is you define what happens. What is the nature of this job? So the nature of our job is to do a backup. So for it to do a backup, you define the name of the step and you paste the script for running the backup and the database that is going to be affected. The database that's going to be affected. Okay. So here you define the type of the script that is going to be run. You can either run a PowerShell script, you can run an SQL analysis command analysis for query, or SQL script. The common script that you'll come across will use the transaction SQL script. Okay. This other function is just for testing your script. Before you wait for the job queue to run, once you've written your script here, you can always execute pass and test to confirm whether your script is running well. Okay. Let's say, for instance, would paste your script there, and then I will be able to execute. Okay. And as I said, for the scheduling is basically how it should happen, when it should happen. So these are the two most important steps. The steps is what it is supposed to do, and then number two, scheduling is when it will do. These other steps, number for alerts, notification, and targets, those are purely optionals, which you can be able to. You can either choose to ignore them because the job queue will still run without those tasks. Okay. Yeah. So that is one part of the doing the scheduling of the job queue. The other part, and of course, the condition for this, as I say, even if you set up your job queue and the agent is not running, it will not work. So make sure that once you've set up your job queue, the agent should be running so that then it is able to execute your backup in the right way. Okay. A sample of the script that you can use is can show you a sample of a backup script that you can use for that. Yeah. So for instance, if you create a script like this, uh, this one, this is the only script that you need. This part here. So you can create you can do something like that, paste it on the scripting that you've done. So for instance, if you copy that, you should be able to use that as your you can easily use that as your step. So if you come here to a new step, you have this, and then we remove here. You define the backup, the database itself. You provide the name, and then you are now able to execute this. I will be able to share with you on email this script so that you can be able to test it on your own time. Because of the time, I will not be able to execute this for you, but I'll share with you this script so that then you can be able to configure it on your end. Now, the other way of doing the backup is to create a schedule using Windows Schedule. And this is my most preferred way of define your job queue with this part. The biggest limitation that we have with using this one is that you don't have a way of determining the name of the file that is going to be created. So occasionally, sometimes that you find that the file comes with a name that is overwriting what was previously there. Now, but if you use the Windows scheduler, it creates a backup schedule with the name of that particular day. And this is how to create a backup schedule from Windows scheduler. The first step is that within your Windows environment, there is something called scheduler or task scheduler. Task scheduler. This is available in all servers. So task schedule to schedule anything within Windows environment. So even things like running the backups, you can actually be able to schedule it here. Other things that is backup, we are required to copy that backup from maybe the server location to another location. So you can make use of this scheduler to be able to achieve that. So I'm going to demonstrate to you how you can be able to create a scheduler for backup, for running a backup. I'll use the same file that I had opened. I'll use this file of mine here to demonstrate that. I will also try to create a backup of this database of mine. I'll use this database. So I will create a scheduler that is able to run a backup of this database. Okay. So the first thing that you need to know is you need to know the connection to your database. So the connection to my database is through a server called PK and an instance called SQL 2019. So I can actually copy that. And then I go now to I prepare the script. So you need to prepare a script. It's called an SQL CMD script that can be executed, a patch file. It's called a patch file that you can be able to execute at any given time. Again, I will share with you a template of this, but with this file, the things that you need to change is number one, you set the path of where your file is going to be stored. Number two, you set the server. So like for instance, my server here is PK. My database, of course, with the instance. So the server name with the instance. So you just put it as is. And then my database is bio. You don't have to change anything else. I just need to define the path of where it's going to be stored. So let me look for a path where I can save my files. So go to this. Then I go to backups. Just anywhere. Of course, you can store it anywhere depending on how you would want to store your file. So mine are going to store it here. So I call it backups. So I go back to my script and I change this appropriately. Change it to that. Make sure you put a slash in the end. This one is just for whatever you see that is a comment, just to guide you through on how that can be saved. So take note of what I need to change. Number one, you change the path. Number two, you change the server. Number three, you change the database. Those are the only things that you change. And then, very important, you need to save your file. You need to save your file as a patch file. As a patch file. So how do I save as a patch file? So as a patch file, I will save it. Yeah. So that's that. Okay. And then .bat. All patch files are stored as .bat. I hope that is clear. So you can edit it as a notepad, but you need to store it as a patch file. A patch file is a file that you can execute in a command prompt. So you can store it with that. So I've stored my file as a patch file. I can actually execute this file manually in my command prompt, and it will be able to do what I want it to do. But then I want it to be automatically executed every time, every day over time. So that now will be done by a job scheduler. So I go back to my job scheduler and I create a basic. Job scheduler. So remember, I want to create a job scheduler for running my bio backup. So let me say bio backup. That's the name of my job, and I move next. So the next, it tells me how often do I want this to happen. So I say I want it to be done daily. So I pick it daily. I move next. And then the next step is which time of the day. So I say I want it to be done every day at 11 p.m. At 11 p.m. and it recurs every day. I move to the next. So the next is what action do you want it to perform? So I say, let it start a program, send an email. So in this case, let it start a program. So I move next. So the next is you need to will be our file. So I will browse to where my file is. It was in C. Folder called this. On another folder called IRP and backup. So I pick that. I have my script here. It's called bioscript. Let me just confirm again, where did I save it? Oh, sorry. It's in this part. It's in this part. Yeah, so it's bio, that one. When I click OK, the next step that is actually done. So you can now be able to finish your task. So once you finish your task, if you go to the history or if you go to the library of the task, you will see my task is here. Other things that you can change on this task is that you can also dictate that this task should run even if I'm not logged in. So if I say run, whether logged in or not, then the job will run whether I'm logged in or not. Okay. Or if you say run, but for the servers, it will always be logged in, but it's always important to use this aspect. So in case somebody else has logged into the server, the job queue will still be able to run. Okay. So once you've done that, you can even test now your backup. You can try to execute it by running it, and you see it has pop up that echo that comes like it means that the backup has been executed. So where did we store our backup? We stored our backup in a folder called backups. So if I come here and see the most recent backup, you can see it as automatic. Now, this is the reason why I was telling you this is the best approach for doing it, because it automatically gives a very good name. It gives the name of the database, it gives the year, the month, and the date, and actually the time. The other options of backups normally has a problem in terms of the naming. So this is the most appropriate option because it gives a very proper naming. And you can even see the time that it takes to do that backup. Very short. So once you've done your backup, uh, maybe I can pause there for a question. Any question on how that is done? Are we still together? Hello?
Yes.
Are we together? Okay. Okay. So any question up to that point? Is it clear? All right. I think if no question means it is good, simple. The next thing that I'm going to demonstrate is how to copy the backup from one location to another location. Remember we said the other day that we need to be storing our backup in Google Drive. And let me just open that Google Drive for some of us that have not accessed that. And I think we shared the credentials for this Google Drive. Uh, so the Google Drive is in this account. We created an account called DSL that has this information. So in our Google Drive, we're supposed to be storing our backups in these folders. So there is a backup here. There is an ERP backup there for all the clients that we are hosting in the office. We're storing it, of course, here. But then we're supposed to have the name of each of the other clients here. Some of the clients that we've already automated, like for instance, if you open for Rongo, you could see their backups is actually up to date. They are running up to date, that is 11. So it's running every night, I think at a certain time. Uh, the other servers also, I think it's the same. So when we want to now schedule our backup, we will be scheduling our backup to this drive, right? We can run our backup that is able to copy to this drive. Or you can do your backup and manually paste it here. But the ultimate responsibility for each and every one of us, if you've been given a client that you should maintain the backup for a certain client, ensure that we have a folder for that client in this big folder. This folder called ERP backup. Then create a folder for that client here, so that then you can be storing their backups there. We have the backup for the clients which are ongoing. This is the work in progress. We have Kenya Pizza, BBB, ICC, and the other. But this one we are not updating it very regular because these are not database in use. This is just for a snapshot of what is happening. But this again, Kevin, we need to ensure that we are updating this at least weekly. And this one we can be replacing. We don't need incremental for this. For the work in progress, we can be doing replacing maybe weekly. But for the other clients, as I said the other time, all the clients that are all the clients that have gone live and have not transitioned into SLA, we should maintain daily backups. For the other clients that are in SLA, we maintain monthly backup. Yeah? I think that is what we agreed the other time. So the next thing I want to show is how can we automate a backup that stores here directly. Okay. So same thing. You do you do a script, and I will show you a sample of the script. So I prepared a script here for copying backups to Google. So you can be able to you can edit that script. It's actually the simple script. This is the only thing. This is the only line that does that. You copy from whichever folder you have to the Google Drive. So the Google Drive, you must have installed the Google Drive in your server, so that then you're able to get that path. Okay, moving the folder, the backup to the folder that is holding the backup. That is optional. That is optional. So I can even remove that. Backup from this to this. So let me change this so that it is practical. So I'm copying my backup from here. So my backup is coming from this location. Okay. So that is the source of my backup, and the destination, I want my backup to be copied into this folder. So I want it to be pasted into this folder called that is work in progress clients. So WIP clients. So let me change that so instead of Egerton, I put it WIP clients. Okay, that is the destination of my backup. So in your case, you will change this to be depending on the name of the client that you are backing up. Now, another thing interesting, then this is very important, is that after you've copied your folder, your backup, it is important to remove that backup from that location and take it to another location. Okay. So for instance, let's say, let me say my backup is in drive C. Move this from drive C. I move it from that location, and I want it to, once I've successfully copied my backup, let it be moved into this folder called backup script. So let me move it here. So so I say once it is successful, let it be transferred here. Okay? The primary reason why you have to move after you have copied is so that when this job queue runs again tomorrow, isipate hiyo backup ikiwa hapo. Otherwise, it will keep copying the same file over and over again. So it's important, once you've copied, you remove that folder that file from that location, so that when the job queue runs the following day, it gets a new file, not the file that was there yesterday. I hope that is clear. If you don't do that, then the whole thing will fail. You will keep copying the same file over and over again. So the first step, we copy our file from drive D, from this location to a Google Drive. Once it is done, move our file from where it is to another location, so that when we execute this tomorrow, we will not file that file again here. It will have moved to another location. That way it becomes a progressive job queue. So let me save my job queue again. Let me save my job queue in the same location. Remember, I said it has to be this, so we can say test. So remember, I said it has to be a patch file. A patch file must be saved with .bat. So I save that with my patch file, and then I create now a task for that. So I come here, I create a simple task, a basic task. I say copy backup. And then I go next. You can say run it daily. Uh, I run it at that time. It is okay. Next, I start a program, and then it is I specify the folder that is having that. So it is this one. Okay. I move next, and I finish. Right. So what happens if I now run this backup of mine? It should copy my file from that location to the Google Drive. So let's start that. So I can test that. Then you can see, I had so many other files there. Wow, sorry. I thought it is the only file. Ah, yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. No worries. We'll delete it after it has finished. Remember, our intention was to copy one file, but let's look at that path. So it's basically copying everything here. It's copying everything that is in this path. Okay. So it is always important to ensure that whatever backup, whatever data that you are copying, that is the only file in that location. But it doesn't look a lot. There are many files, but small files, so it will finish, but it will mess up our Google Drive folder. So while this is happening, if you now look at what is happening in your notification panel of Google, where is that? So if you open your Google here, you will see the same things happening. You can open your notification panel. You will see that it is already now uploading. It's already uploading to the Google Drive. Okay? So in fact, even if you want to cancel, you can cancel it at this point. Uh, so you can see there are some which is already finished, others at various percentage. If we also go to our Google Drive, if we go to So if you go to our Google Drive for this folder, you will see some of those files have already been posted. So you see all these files. So you see all these files is already being uploaded. Okay. From